excited to be back, and like I just told Joel, it is like old times a little bit. But no, it's a great. I think it's a great thing with overall with the Magic are doing. It's hard to believe it's been 25 years. I remember in high school watching this new franchise come about, and to play a small part in its history, I guess, is for me is quite an honor. And but I think it's great what they're doing to honor the past. And when I got the call, I said, "Are you sure?" And, but no, I was definitely thrilled, and tonight will be a fun night.
Well, you accomplished a lot early in your career, but how much pride do you take in the fact that you got past the ankle thing and had 6, 7 more years of good basketball?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all got past it. It was tough, and but I think we all wanted the same thing, and we all wanted to have me out there playing. And I think what you learn in sports and you learn in life is that sometimes things don't go according to a plan, and so you have to adapt and adjust. And I think you all learn from it. And so it was interesting when I was going through it, and some of you were here and recall, but I used to always kind of tell myself, okay, I'll make up for it on the back end. And that was sort of what mentally keeps you going. And I used to say, I'll play till I'm 40, and that was sort of what drove me. And sure enough, I did. And when I turned 40, my body shut down. And so I should have said 42 or 43. But yeah, I mean, I think early in your career, when you have success and you get caught up in your ego and your legacy and all that other stuff, you're consumed with it, And I think going through some adversity and setbacks, I look back at my career and I'm most proud of just continuing to fight, continuing to push through, and so yeah, being able to come back and play was in a weird kind of way the highlight of my career.
Grant, did you have any trepidation about accepting this honor, considering that some fans don't understand how hard you worked to get back?
No, I mean, look, when I was just telling somebody when I first came back with the Suns, in layup line, every time I touched the ball, the fans would boo, and so my teammates kept throwing me the ball. And so I'm in the rebounding line. They keep throwing me the ball, and so and so we got a big kick out of it. But I think the thing that another story. I remember going to RFK Stadium as a Cowboy fan growing up, and as a little kid, seeing Joe Theismann, talk about a blast from the past, as quarterback, and you could just. He makes a mistake and the fans would he's terrible, get him out, he's a bum, this, that, and the other. And then he makes a great play and they're all excited, he's the best thing in the world. And so I think at an early age you internalize that, you see that it's about loyalty, it's about passion. Fans have an intimate relationship with their team and with their various players. And so that passion is why we have an NBA and why we all, media, PR, player, broadcast, whatever. There's a team here because of that passion. So I get it, I understand it, and I think it's great. And so, with regards to me, I mean, I'm okay with whatever the reaction might be. I'm just glad, that you get to sort of come full circle and bring closure. And I think also too, I'm glad. I know my best moments weren't necessarily here. But I'm glad that for guys that really did have some magical, no pun intended, the Penny Hardaways, the Tracy McGrady's, that they were received well. And that as great as they were, things may not end ideally, but that they were able to come back and be recognized. And so, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but, sometimes, and for the players, getting back on that, I think sometimes look, the nature of professional sports, you leave a franchise usually under 3 or 4 circumstances. One, you're traded. 2, you might sign elsewhere, or you may kind of be forced to retire. And so it's not always an easy exit. And that's one of the things in professional sports I think we all know. And so to have a lot of the Pat Garrity's and the Dennis Scotts, and I'll even lump myself into that group, to be able to just come full circle and bring closure, I think it's good for us, as well. So I had no trepidation, to answer your question.
Otis Smith was quoted in SI several years ago saying you wanted to come back when you were a free agent, but it was the organization that didn't want you back just because they wanted the young guys on the team at the time to take on clear leadership roles. Was that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, I think so in part. I mean, I think if you go back to 2007, you had Jameer Nelson, who at a young age showed some, incredible leadership qualities. You had Dwight, who was emerging. I think he had just become an all-star. He was announced to be on the Olympic team. And so, but they were good kids. And, I say kids, but I mean, they were good. They were nice people. They were so respectful, and they deferred. And so, sort of wearing my general manager's hat, I understand that, sometimes you got a big brother has to get out of the way so, the little brothers can grow up. And so from an organization standpoint, I totally understand that and get that. And I think, for me, it was probably a good thing too, I mean, so I think it worked well for both sides. And people may or may not understand that. Hopefully time heals wounds and time gives perspective. But I get it, I understand. And I kind of understood it then. And, and so it was good. And certainly, look, the team got to the finals, and a couple of years later, and you saw the maturation of Jameer and assumed that leadership role, and Dwight was becoming an all-star. So, yeah, I mean, that's professional sports, and sometimes you got to make those tough decisions, and it was the right decision. And I think it was the right decision for Otis, and I think it was probably the right decision for me at that time.
Talk about your general manager's hat. Do you have aspirations for that or coaching?
I'm enjoying my life. I have no stress on my body right now. The life of a general manager is quite difficult. You never say never, I guess. I think there were some opportunities that presented themselves this past off season. Not in a prominent role, but sort of in a management position. But when you've played 19 years, you need to kind of decompress a little bit and kind of get away from it. Because it's a grind, it's a grind of a season, it's a grind, and I'm not that smart, or, not that, I can't just jump right into that, I still think of myself as a player, and if guys go from playing to, I think there needs to be a transition. Now, certainly Jason Kidd has proved all those doubters wrong, but I'm not Jason Kidd, so, but yeah, I mean, I enjoy what I'm doing. I get a chance to be around the game. I get a chance to give my opinion. Your opinion can never be wrong. At least that's what they tell me. And I'm having fun doing what I'm doing. And you never know, you might get that itch later on. But, I enjoy my life right now. And I know that that position as a general manager is kind of that's a thankless position, in a lot of ways. And, so I've seen and worked with a number of really good and talented people who, appear to have miserable lives when they're doing it. So,
Grant, what do you think about this freshman class that everybody's raved about? Do you see them having success in the NBA when and if they make the jump?
Yeah, I think so. You have a successful, talented, very deep freshman class, but also just draft class this year. Obviously a couple of them didn't fare well in the tournament in the first few rounds, but I don't think that changes anybody's opinions about them and what they can do. And the college game is a lot different than the NBA game. And so I think you can get a great player at 1, 2, or 3, but I think you can get a really good player, 15 through 20. And so, and I can say that with more confidence, having sort of really kind of, just covered college basketball and, crammed for a test and preparing for it. So it's going to be exciting. It's always, it's always exciting when new players come in and just sort of, but also too, it takes being in the right situation, the right team, the right personality of a team, the right coaching style. There he is. And so, you know, there's a lot of factors I think that go into rookies coming in and having success right away. But there's definitely some really talented guys out there.
Hey Grant, when you watch the top college players, are you always thinking in projecting them as NBA players?
Yes. I mean, it's tough for me because I haven't done a lot of college basketball, but I'm always sort of looking through the lens as a pro player and the pro style of game. And so I think certain guys might do better in the pro game than in college because of the rules and so on. And so there are certain things, having been there and played, and that you can see in guys. You're like, okay, he's got a certain feel for the game, or a certain skill set, or a certain mindset that is, I think, necessary to be successful. And there's a lot of guys. I mean, and I'll tell you, a lot of guys that weren't on my radar, that I've watched, and I'm like, wow, their games will translate well at this level.